All right, welcome everybody to the NorCal Sports Network. I'm Dan Coccimiglio, and I have my special guest from the Gym on the Base show, Ryan. Ryan, good to have you. We met today at the Giants-Dodgers game in the press box and found out what he does, and he's got some awesome content on his channel, Gym on the Base show. You can catch him on Twitter, on TikTok, and I believe YouTube. Is that right?
Yeah. All those major streaming social media platforms.
Yeah. So welcome, everybody. We're going to be going over the World Baseball Classic and what a game that was tonight between Japan and the USA. And also, we'll get into the Giants' spring training. We'll update what's happening there and what we think the roster may look like on opening day. So feel free to leave your comments in the comments section. And we're what a game tonight. I don't know if you caught, I know you said you had to run out to dinner, but did you catch the end of the game?
Yeah, I watched the ending, and the irony to see Ohtani strike out his teammate Mike Trout to win the championship was kind of crazy.
Oh my goodness, that last slider was so wicked. It looked like a strike all the way, and then it just broke outside, just outside the zone where he was kind of like nothing he could do with it. But he had to swing, right? I mean, he had to swing. He couldn't take that.
Yeah, and he obviously wasn't happy, so it was just interesting to see that dynamic. Two guys that normally are, on the same team. Funny.
And speaking of that, how in the world are the Angels so crappy when they have two of the best players in the game? I mean, those are probably, I would rank them 1-2. Whether you want to go Trout Ohtani or Ohtani Trout, to me, they're 1-2.
No, definitely. It's kind of funny to see, and obviously Ohtani's going to leave, right? So it's all. I mean,
yeah, I would think Artie Moreno, after watching that game tonight, he'd want to go do whatever he can do to keep Ohtani. I mean, I think he shows back up at camp in Tempe tomorrow at Angels camp. I'm sitting there with a $500+ million offer for 10 years, say, we'd like to keep you. And we're going to how about if we get a few more of your Japanese teammates on this team too? Because those guys, I mean, those guys are good baseball players. They're fast. They can pick it in the field. And that left-hander that hit the home run, he's a 2-time MVP over there in Japan. He won the Triple Crown, their Triple Crown over there. I mean, golly. I mean, what?
There's some international deals going on coming up after this.
Yeah, I guess if they what do they call that when Japan they make them open or something? They open up their market or something that allows them to be sold off to major league teams. But I got to thinking after watching this game tonight, I thought, if you want to really generate some interest in baseball, in Major League Baseball, we have what we call the World Series. To me, it was the World Series because there was no other baseball back when the World Series was created. How about changing Major League Baseball to the MLB Championship? Like, you got the NBA champ. And let's have a battle between Japan's best team that wins their world, their thing over in Japan, and the World Series winner here in America, and let's have a 9-game extravaganza. 5 games and 4 games. Forget the travel. I don't know how you do that, but so you're not traveling back and forth. That's kind of a difficult thing, but maybe you just say, okay, we're going to have the first 4 games in one country and the next 5 are going to be at the other country. And, whoever.
It could be like Super Bowl, you pre-pick a host,
Yeah, you could do that. But I just thought it was really fun to watch, and just seeing that competitive baseball that we really don't get until our playoffs.
Yeah, no, it was fun to see the players really into it, and you know, they're not treating it like otherwise they'd be in spring training. So it's cool to see them be into it, be fired up, and want to win. So, and
Yeah.
the ratings are backing it up. It seems like people are tuning in and watching. So
Right.
it's good for
Right.
baseball.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jim. Jim on Base show. Tell us how the whole thing got started. Guys, he's got a YouTube channel. I just subscribed. My wife subscribed. I believe Romo in the chat subscribed. So we're gonna hopefully get your name out there and get more subscribers for you. It's called the Jim on Base show, and you got one of the coolest logos I've seen. I really love that. The I for Jim is a microphone. That's awesome with a dime inside the shape of a diamond. I'm going to hold it up here. See if you guys. Let me see if you could see that there. Let me see. Let me turn it this way. Well, it's not going to go that way. See that logo right there? It's pretty cool looking. So it's the Jim on Base show. Go to his channel and subscribe. He's got some of the most amazing interviews that I've seen. I mean, you got some superstars on there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I started the show during the pandemic pretty much. I had the idea. I was driving around listening to the radio, and I thought, I think it'd be more fun to get to know these guys instead of asking about so many details about the game or things like that. To, you know, what are they watching, you know, on Netflix, or what kind of music do they like? Who was their first concert? You know, stuff like that. Are they big cooks? You know, just to get to know them away from the game and kind of humanize them more. I think that makes people's ears kind of perk up. So I kind of talked myself out of it for a while, and then finally I gave in and started buying equipment and putting things together, and it kind of worked out. And that's why it's called Jim on Base, because my real name's Ryan, and I was just kind of embarrassed if it didn't work out. I didn't want my friends or coworkers to find out and make fun of me. So that's why it's Jim on Base. It's a fun alias to have, you know. But some of the guests I've had, Greg Maddox was my first episode, and I just pre-recorded my 100th episode, which will come out in a few weeks, is with Greg Maddox again. Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Warren Moon, for other baseball guys, Ryan Sandberg. For Giants fans, I've had Bruce Bochy, Matt Cain, Will Clark's come on a few times. Basketball, I've had Steph Curry give me a quick intro for an episode that I did with Andre Iguodala. And it started out as a sports show, and then I was able to branch out over the last 6 months or so and get some comedians on. So I've had people like Ray Romano, Colin Jost from
Saturday. You had Ray Romano from Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, he was great.
I love that show.
Yeah, he was funny too. And I actually butchered I said, you're obviously in Everyone Loves Raymond. And he goes, it's actually Everybody Loves Raymond. But he was joking. We'll fix that in the editing. So that was funny. He had a good sense of humor about it. But I've had some musicians on too. Nick Jonas from the Jonas Brothers. So it's been a fun journey the last few years. And then I ran into you today at spring training.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, so I just, when I started looking at your lineup, I'm like, wow. I see Will Clark, Sleepy Floyd, Chris Mullen, Matt Williams, like you said, comedian. You had Adam Ray, Patrick Peterson, the Pro Bowl defensive back, Buster Posey, Evan Longoria. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm just like, I'm really impressed because you have no background in media, right? Just
no.
You just decided in the pandemic, you're just like, hey, I'm gonna take a shot at this, and look at that.
And I was surprised more people said yes than no, and more people were a lot nice and able to converse pretty well and open up and have good stories to tell. And that's been great. I've noticed too, a lot of the bigger names, they're great interviews, but I've had some even better stories, or maybe just good moments that people reflected on. Maybe some of the unsung heroes, like a reliever or someone that's not the superstar name. I've noticed they've been able to open up and have some pretty entertaining stories themselves about being around the Derek Jeters or other stars. So that's been a fun experience.
And that's kind of, I love your approach, because that's exactly what I've tried to do in the Giants locker room is humanize the guys, get to know them, have fun with them, ask them some baseball questions, but also getting to, have fun with them. Like we had fun with Lamont Wade when I asked him, because I said, hey, do you have any superstitions? When I played baseball, it was like if I had a good game, I just didn't change my socks, wore them again. And his like, that's mine. He goes, but he took it a step further. He said, everything is the same. Like, so if he gets a hit, he's not changing nothing and he's not shaving. So I said to him, I said, so if you get really hot in the season and go on a long hitting streak, you could look like Brebbia. He said, that's the goal. So kind of fun, but
I guess we want to see him with a big beard this year.
Yeah, exactly. Romo, he's been a long-time listener to the Krug Show, which I've been a part of for a year, and then started this channel. And he helps me out. He helps moderate the chat, make sure there's nothing crazy going on in there. He asks a question: did you? I put the wrong one up. It's this one. Were you on with Bill Lasky last season?
Oh, yeah, that was me. Yeah, I was that
okay.
guy.
He thought that. That's great.
Yeah, he had me on CanBR and kind of got the story and helped promote the show. And it was fun because I had Bill Lasky on as a guest, a whole episode about his career. And then I said, hey, by the way, can I come on with you? And then I'll promote your episode at my show on CanBR. So that was a pretty cool experience too.
Yeah. Romo says, I knew it.
It's nice to know people actually heard it.
Yeah, well, Romo's is a big listener in the Bay Area, big Giants fan. He's listens to Marty. He has been on, call in to Marty Lurie's show for many, many years, all the way back to his days when he was in the Air Force. So,
was that his handle on the radio, Romo, or?
No, his handle on the radio was Eric from Beale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. Like you mentioned, Marty, and I reached out to him on Twitter in the beginning, and he kind of gave me some tips, and then I've been asking him stuff here and there, and then now I got to see him here at spring training, and he's been like a kind of a little bit of a mentor through this experience, and I'm hoping to interview him sometime soon and have him on the show. So
yeah, that would be great. Yeah, we had Marty on about 2 weeks ago. In fact, maybe we'll do a show, the three of us or something together, just as the Giants season gets going. There's not a lot of Giants content creators in the the media, the social media world. I mean, the 49ers have it's unbelievable how many 49er content creators there are. In fact, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter recently. There's a like a March Madness thing that somebody created for all the 49er guys. And so they're going up in brackets against one another. And, it's like there's guys in that whole thing that I haven't heard of, several of them, heard of most of them, but there's over 60 of them. You could do that in the Giants if you took their social media content creators plus all their beat writers and announcers. There's not that many covering the Giants. So yeah, I think anything.
Have you heard of Giants Chatter? They're a good one.
Giants Chatter. There's a guy out there that has a pretty good YouTube channel called Hum Baby.
Oh, okay.
Hum Baby's out there. Jeff Young does Fans Cited. I don't know if he does anything in the YouTube world, but he puts out a lot of great Giants content with Fans Cited, and you can read his stuff. He's really up on the Giants. Ben Kasperick, I believe it is Locked On Giants. Trying to think of anybody else. There's Marty. And, myself, Larry Kruger does his channel, puts out, Giants content, which I was a part of quite a bit last year and did a lot of post-game stuff there. We had a lot of fun with the Giants last year just because at one point I was, I'm a Giants fan, so I live and breathe. I don't come to the Giants channel I don't come from a journalistic, but more as a fan,
Mm.
and so when they're losing, I'm getting frustrated, and I had a big giant shirt, and I put some stuff in it, and when they got on a losing streak right after the All-Star break, I took a big giant fork and I stabbed I said, put a fork in them, they're done, and the only thing that was frustrating to me was Farhan didn't realize that they were done, and he didn't make any trades that were, getting rid of Rodon. I was like one of the guys, saying get rid of Rodon, either improve the team, go out and make some trades and get more players to improve the team, or trade Rodon and get a really good asset back for him, because he's going to walk at the end of the year. And, of course, that's what he did. So, but getting back to this World Baseball Classic, which was, to me, the frustrating part for me in watching this was the USA team was loaded with position players, probably the best lineup they've had, but we didn't have the best pitchers pitch. Imagine if Corbin Burns was out there, Verlander, or Jacob deGrom, or Max Scherzer, or there's probably 4 or 5 other starting pitchers that Rodon, another one. Of course, he's injured right now, but
I guess Logan Webb would have been one, right?
Yeah, Logan Webb was gonna be on the team, and then he pulled back because he wanted to, really focus in on the Giants clubhouse and really bringing the team together, which is good. But I mean, Japan's pitching was dynamite, and that's probably why they won the thing. I don't think if DeGrom and Rodon being healthy, and Verlander and Corbin Burns and Scherzer and who else could Webb? You could put a few other guys in there. Had they had that depth of starting pitching, I think they'd be pretty tough to beat with that lineup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it seems like some teams you can definitely see that some youth going against them, maybe some inexperience compared to other matchups, when they're playing, teams like Japan. So, like you said, having those good arms in there is definitely key to. I mean, we saw the other night Mexico against Japan, right? That comeback to be a bullpen kind of breakdown. So,
yeah, Mexico just didn't have that great of, depth there in pitching, and that's really the problem that I saw in most of the teams, is that they just didn't have really solid pitching. So Japan was. I didn't realize that they go a lot deeper than Ohtani and Darvish in their pitching. They had some guys that could throw the ball. I mean, the kid that pitched yesterday, he was 21 years old, but he threw 102 miles an hour. He threw 26 pitches of his 64 pitches over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, they're, those guys, Japan is really catching up. I mean, in some ways, in some areas, they're ahead of U.S. in their approach and everything to the game. So, but yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was like, just seeing some of the names that were playing that were on different teams. I'm like, Barnes. What's his first name? Barnes, the catcher for the Dodgers, Austin Barnes. I think it is. I didn't know he was from Mexico or has. I mean, Barnes. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the relationship is.
Ancestry.com. I don't know.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman was Canada. I don't. A couple other guys that were Manny Machado was Dominican, right? But I think so, I didn't know that. I can't remember if I thought he grew up here, but I guess if you have any kind of relative, parent maybe that had any background from that country or blood or whatever, I guess you can choose which country you want to represent.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if there's any hard, fast rules. Like you just have to have a little bit in you, or if your last name is German, does that mean you can play for Germany or?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. So, so tell me about your you had a lot of interviews. Like you said, you put up your 100th. What's your
Hmm.
most memorable one?
Uh, it's kind of hard to say because I always think like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Then maybe a few weeks
Uh,
later, oh, this is amazing too. But I'd say like my one of my first in-person interviews that was great was Steve Young. Was I knew he was a
ah,
nice guy, I always hear him on the
uh,
radio interviews and see him on TV, and he was just super genuine and nice in person, and kind of laughed and had a sense of humor, and just seemed like a really loose, down to earth guy. So that one
oh,
always sticks out to me.
that's great. So you did you meet him at the golf classic in Tahoe or?
Yeah, so I had a media pass for the celebrity golf tournament up in Tahoe for that American Century
Yeah,
Championship, and we
yeah.
got to talk to a lot of guys there. Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Charles Barkley had a quick little one with him. David Wells,
Oh yeah, the pitcher.
yeah, and then I also had him before for a, interview over the phone too, so that was a little bit more in depth. But yeah, that was a really cool experience.
That's neat. I mean, that's a great place to go get interviews, a golf tournament, because guys are just having a lot of fun. They're relaxed. Some of them are probably not taking that all that serious. I'm sure
Exactly.
guys like Steph want to, win, but Steph's always good to have fun.
Yeah.
Um,
We
so,
know who else was a good one was George Contos. I had.
oh
Um,
yeah,
Yeah, so Giants fans would like that. And he was one of those guys who he has
he's a good
multiple.
golfer too, isn't he? Him and
Yeah,
Matt
big
Cain, I
golfer.
think.
Yep. And
Giants.
yeah, he mentioned Posey being a good golfer, and I saw him up at Pebble Beach last month, and it was fun. I got him on the show for a couple minutes, and I actually added that to my episode that came out yesterday. I did
Okay.
Alyssa Nacken, coach for the Giants,
Yeah.
and then I paired my Buster Posey interview with that one. So yeah, she
Oh,
was great.
nice.
Yeah.
So you do all your own editing, everything then?
Yeah, everything you see, I've touched it up or whatnot,
Yeah.
which
Now,
makes it
did you?
challenging sometimes, a lot of work, as you know.
Yeah. I mean, does that take? I've heard editing can take hours.
Yeah, it just kind of depends. Sometimes I'll sit down for 10 minutes here, maybe 15 minutes there, so it's little segments to make it. I try to make it a couple day process. Um, but yeah, I did an interview the other day, one of my best ones too, that's not out yet. Is with. Do you remember the comedian Tom Dreesen at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he toured with Frank Sinatra. He
Yeah.
broke down. Yeah, he broke down his story the first time he was on the Tonight Show.
Uh-huh.
So that was really cool. And I mean, that guy literally knows everyone in Hollywood. It seems like so he had
Yeah.
awesome stories. But it's like a little over an hour and a half, so I have a lot of editing to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you're really just stepping into it and get right in there and getting some of the top guys. I mean, you were at the Giants. I'll see you in the morning at the Giants clubhouse, but
Yeah,
you were telling me you got like 5 interviews today, which is great. And 40, you get 45 minutes in there, and that's it. So
yeah,
to get 5 interviews, I mean, I think I did get 5 or 6 one day, but I've had some days where I'm like, where is everybody? And
yeah,
then somebody walks in and go, I already got him a few days ago. Do I really want to, what do
yeah,
I, what am I going to ask him today? It's like, hey, how'd you sleep last night?
yeah.
It's like,
I guess it's good
so
problems to have too.
yeah, so it's good because if you want to put those out, you can store them in your bag to release
Yeah,
them, a little later. But
they
no,
got some
that's
good
great.
Logan Webb today, Brandon Crawford, um, Sean Mania. I've got the Rogers brothers
Yeah.
and Ross Stripling. All I know they're guys that you got too. So yeah,
Yeah,
good
but
people.
heck, yeah, they're really good interviews. Yeah, I enjoyed the Rogers
Mhm.
brothers, and it's like kind of have. I mean, if you look close enough, you can. If after a while you can figure out who's who, but if
Yeah,
you don't see them a lot, and then you see one walking on the field, you just kind of do a double take and go, "I think that's Tyler." Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, there's a slight, just a very slight difference uh, in when you look
cool.
at him.
Yeah, I got a little nervous today because once we started, I was like, "Oh crap, I don't know who's who anymore." So I said it out loud, and then it was kind of good from there. But I was like, man, I don't want to say you're Tyler or you're Taylor because it'll probably be wrong.
Right. I actually stood in front of them. I noticed, I think you were in the interview, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're using a tripod to
Yeah.
film.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just holding my phone, and so I had Tyler the righty on my right, and then Taylor the lefty on my left. So I was like,
Uh,
okay, there's Tyler on the right, and the right hander, and the submariner, and Taylor over here on the left. And so it made it a little easier. But sometimes I'm like, just maybe look up at their locker to make sure I'm gotten the right,
oh,
the
that's a
right
good
one
point.
that's got their name up on top. So, but they could probably mess people up if they switched,
Yeah, he
you
said, "Have
know.
you guys played any pranks on teammates yet, pretending to be the other one?" And they said, "No, not yet, or they haven't done it. So we'll see if it. Maybe they'll get into some shenanigans during the season."
Yeah, maybe so. They do seem pretty kind of low key to me, a little bit more, laid back. But were they standing or sitting when you interviewed them?
They're standing, so they made me look like I'm 3 feet tall.
Aren't they? They're about what, 6'4"? Both of
They
them.
yeah, maybe even like taller, right? Like six
Yeah.
six, but definitely
Oh,
6'4".
go stand next to Jelly.
Oh yeah,
That
what is it,
will
6'11"?
be. He's 6'11". Yeah, he's
He
six
might be
eleven.
taller than me even when
How
he's
how, how
seated.
tall are you?
5'9". So
Okay, so you're 5'9". Yeah, so he's a good foot taller, a little over 14 inches. Yeah, I'm 5'11", and so when I stood up, it was like, oh my goodness, my neck is just like, yeah, he's like a gazelle. But yeah, so tell us what's your thoughts on the Giants this year? I mean, you're been watching them as a fan for years, and now you're up close, getting a chance to talk to the players. Got a chance to see them in action today, and you'll be here till Saturday when they leave. They leave Saturday, and you leave Saturday night.
yeah,
So,
I'll see if I pitch right.
what's your thoughts on them this year?
I think it's going to be interesting. Like me and you were talking earlier, and there's just a lot of injuries too, so early on in spring training. So I think that's going to allow some young guys and prospects to show themselves, like the Blake Sables, and it looks like guys are getting some chances early to kind of show what they got. Maybe the Kyle Harrisons, but um, that part I guess we'll see. But overall, I think when I was really looking at the outfield, when you got the Confortos and hopefully and the Lamont Wades, if they can have some good seasons, I think the Giants can definitely be competitive. But when you have the Dodgers and the Padres, it just seems like the tables are just so set differently. But
Yeah. I think, I think as we talked, we agree that for them to really compete, everything's got to go well. They,
yeah, a lot of career years.
everybody's got to play well. They got to be available, not have a lot of injuries. You need Haniger and Conforto to play 140 plus games. You're going to need Crawford. They're probably not going to play Crawford more than 120 games, is my guess, based on Gabe's saying they're going to, watch him anyway. And now he's got a knee that's flared up. So I think they're going to play him more like they did Buster in 2021, where Buster never played 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
Only, never did day games after night games. So I imagine Crawford will not be playing any day games after night games this year, just to give that knee a rest, make sure, can't overextend him. And then, if somehow they make the playoffs, then, he'd probably be in there playing every day at that point.
yeah.
But
But we're gonna need, like we said earlier too, we're gonna need. We got a great pitching staff. Hopefully, the bullpen will hold up too. And if we get some career hitting years out of guys, I'm not saying we're gonna win the World Series, but in the World Series we have won, all those guys had career years, so it's not
right,
impossible.
right. Guys had big years. They just got hot at the right time.
Yeah,
Baseball is kind of that way. You got to hang in there, and hang in there. They just, The old saying is you don't win a division in April, but you can lose it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Hopefully,
mean,
yeah, have just a nice, respectable start and kind of go from there.
yeah, I think if they can stay near 500 after the first month, and enter May near 500, that would be a win because they got on their schedule their first 10 series look like this. They open up with the Yankees, and then they go to believe it's the White Sox. Let me pull up the schedule here. I don't know what. There we go. Okay, here we go. So yeah, they go to the White Sox, and then they come home for Kansas City. So White Sox are not going to be easy and on the road. And then they got the Dodgers. They open up. They got Kansas City, then the Dodgers. Then they go on the road to Detroit, which I think they lost 2 of 3 last year in Detroit. They got, and then they go to Miami, where they always struggle. Then they come home for 4 against the Mets, and then 4 against the Cardinals, 2 playoff teams. And then they go to Mexico for 2 against San Diego, and then they end up 3 in Houston. So that's 31 games. Okay. You want to be 15, at least 15, 14 and 17, I would think at worst. You don't want to be 10 and 21.
Yeah.
If they're close to that 500 mark, schedule doesn't get a lot easier, but with this balanced schedule, you're going to be playing everybody. But they have the pitching to keep them in there because they go 7 deep when you add Junis as a starter. And then you got Sean Jelly, who can eat up innings as a starter. And you have Kyle Harrison at AAA, who could come up and eat up innings. Even Keaton Wynn, who they protected in the Rule 5 draft, is a starter who, if need be, and they need to call on him, he could come up and eat up innings. So Sam Long's another guy that could
I
eat
like
up
him.
some innings. Yeah, so they've got
Got
guys
out.
that can, it's not what you see anymore where 5 guys have 32 starts,
Yeah.
and there's your 162 game schedule, 5 guys. It's going to take 8 to 10, I'm thinking at least, of starters to get you through a season.
Maybe some Jake Junis starts in there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I could see that. So I think the fact that they have that, I think if there's a weakness to the pitching staff, it's they don't have a really strong 1, 2, 3. It's you got a 1.5 in Logan Webb. I think Alex Cobb's a
Kind of hit.
solid 2,
Yeah.
but the rest of the guys are, have been primarily 4.5s.
Yeah. Stefani, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. You might have one bad inning, but everything else is good.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
he's pitched well this spring, but is he a top of the rotation guy? At times he was in 21, but not consistently. And Manaea can be, but he's, the guy that I think may be the kind of the wild card is Ross Stripling. Ross Stripling is a guy that pitched really well last year, and he came up with the Dodgers, and his first game flirted with a no-hitter against the Giants, actually.
Yeah.
Took it into the 8th inning, I think.
We talked about it today, actually. He said 7 1/3 innings, and I think he walked a guy or 2, so they took him out, and then whoever came in after gave up a home run.
I think it was to Buster, too, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Maybe,
but I remember the Giants won that game. They were down. I was watching it. They were down the whole game. He's getting no hit, 5 outs left to go. Like I said, they took him out, and then the Giants somehow pulled it off with I don't know if it was a walk-off homer or something. But, Ross Stripling. And I read something recently on Ross Stripling. He's one of only 2 guys in the majors that throws. He's got the highest release point in baseball, him and Verlander.
Wow.
He throws straight over the top, which is a really odd motion. Most guys, throw 3/4 or, something that he actually, if you watch him, he ends up where it almost at times looks like he's throwing the ball on the wrong side of his head because he's throwing up here, which I would think, man, that would be really tight on the rotator cuff.
Yeah.
But that's why his curveball is what they call a 12-6, just boom. It just falls off the table. So, but I think he's a good and then Sean Manaea pitched today, or not today, but the other day, but he's pitching well from his time at Driveline. He increased his fastball by like 4 or 5 miles per hour in the offseason, and then he's worked on his changeup, which is his best pitch. So if he gets some, more distinction between the fastball and the changeup, that could make that fastball even look even faster.
And he's a big guy. He looks like that one, the Aquaman actor. I'm going blank right now.
Yeah. You know what I might try to do is I might try to put the Alex Wood interview that we got in the clubhouse this afternoon. He looked pretty good today on the mound. He was pretty sharp, and
he was in good spirits too after a good start. So good energy.
Right. Yeah. So that was a good day. Let's talk about the roster. Somebody is asking. Cool Breeze is saying Bryce Johnson, Piscotty, Sable.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how I see it, and I tweeted this out today. I see the Giants putting 3 guys on the 60-day injury list because they're not going to be ready for a few months anyway. So they're not going to leave those guys on the 40-man roster when they need to add a few guys. So right off the bat, Luis Gonzalez, Luke Jackson, the reliever who's coming off Tommy John. They've already said he's not going to be ready until I think it was like June at the earliest. Okay. So, and I thought it might even been July. So let's say he's even ready by June 15th. Well, that's over 60 days, April, all of May. So he's going on the 60-day IL. That opens up 1 spot on the 40. Luis Gonzalez having back surgery. They said he's out 16 weeks. Well, that's over 60 days. So he's going on the 60-day IL. So that opens up 2 roster spots. Thomas Zapaki is got some kind of nerve or something, neuropathy or something like that. That doesn't sound like he's ready to. He hasn't pitched in weeks. So my guess is he goes on the 60-day IL. Plus, they've got other relievers that they don't need to like rush him to get him back and then create a bigger injury. So 3 spots on the 40. So who's going to fill those spots on the 40? Blake Sable's already on the 40. And Jenny Vega says, hello, Dan. Hello, Jenny. Thanks for joining. So Blake Sable, I believe, is a lock for this roster. He can play left field. He can catch. It's a luxury to have as a third catcher. He's got a really good bat, great speed, very athletic. They're not sending him back to the Pirates, at least not to start the season. There's no way. If they do, to me, that would be one of the dumbest things they could do, just because you got a guy that's, can hit, he can run, he can play multiple positions, and one of them being catcher. You don't let a guy like that get away. When you it's different if you could send him down to Sacramento and he's still protected, but you can't. So he's staying. Because Mitch Haniger And I believe Austin Slater are starting the season on the IL, the 10-day. Okay. So now you got 2 spots in the lineup. So you got 3 open roster spots. Roberto Perez is getting one of those. Write it down, lock it in. It's done deal. I believe the other 2, there's 3 spots that I'm looking at, and 2 of them are going to get a spot, and one's not. Bryce Johnson, he's been stealing bases. He's like 12 for 12, something crazy.
Yeah.
He's hitting the ball. He's their best defensive outfielder. He's got speed. That's a guy that you can plug and play late in the innings when you need defense and maybe you need a pinch runner, then put him back in and keep him in the outfield. Maybe you get some starts against some right-handers. So there's another one, Steven Piscotty. They don't have any right-handed hitting outfielders right now. 0.
Yeah.
Haniger's out, Slater's out. Those are the only 2 right-handed outfielders that were actually outfielders. Yeah, they could put in Estrada out there, throw him out there as a, left field, but it's not ideal.
Yeah.
So Piscotty. So I think Piscotty makes the team.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with that.
So now it
Good
comes
catcher.
down to Johnson or Bart. And this is only if you're carrying 12 pitchers. If you carry 13 pitchers, which I don't think they will do to start the season, I think they go with 12 because they got 2 days off.
Well, I was going to mention Joey Bart. I hope that things start coming together for him, and
I hope so. He's very athletic.
We've all been waiting for this. So
yeah, he hits the ball when he hits it very hard. Probably hits it as hard as anybody on the team. I mean, he's got exit velocity of 110 plus on some of his balls. The key is, does he make enough contact? They really want to see him cut down on the strikeouts. Mm-hmm. So, but Perez is, to me, he's a lock just because he's their best defensive catcher, and that's what they brought him here for. He doesn't hit a whole lot, but they need a veteran catcher. Pitchers love throwing to him, and I think that's why he makes the team. 2-time Gold Glove winner with Cleveland. So I think he's on the team. I actually think they may carry 3 catchers, but if they go with Bryce Johnson and Piscotty, I think Bart starts the season in Sacramento.
What about Austin Wynns? Do you see him fitting in?
No, I don't. They can keep him in the organization. I don't think anybody picks him up. They can keep him in Sacramento as, that guy that can be called up when a need arises. I think he's probably the most consistent guy they have catching that can, when you combine hitting and defense, but he's got probably the lowest ceiling and the lowest floor. He's just kind of mid, He's not going to do a whole lot. Whereas Bart has a big ceiling, but he's also got a floor that you could crash. It could go really low. Perez doesn't have a low floor. I mean, he's not going to fail you defensively. Not a whole lot you'll probably get out of him offensively. Sable's a guy with some upside. Catching is going to have to be, how do I say? Catching is going to have to, get better, which it will. And he's a really good framer, but the guy can hit and he can play other positions. So having him, to me, is a huge luxury on the team, because let's say you're in late innings. Let's say Joey Bart started the game. Let's say they carry 3 catchers. Bart starts. He comes out for whatever reason, whether they pinch hit for him or whatever. Let's say they did. And they bring in Perez. Okay, Perez comes up. You got men on base. He's facing a tough righty.
Mm.
It's late in the game. You're down by 1. You got bags full, and you got 1 out. Are you gonna? Yeah, exactly. You can bring in a left-handed hitter to face the righty, whether it's Sable or somebody on the bench that's still. Let's say Sable's out in left field. Okay, well, we got Wade on the bench. We got Peterson on the bench. We got Conforto for some reason. Whatever. You could pinch hit right there for your catcher because you got another catcher in Blake Sable. Now you just bring him in from left field or off the bench, and then you insert somebody else out there and say. So you can't do that if you don't have 3 catchers. You got to let Perez bat, and it could be any kind of ground ball to any infielder is a double play. Yeah. He's slow, and he doesn't hit for a lot of average. So to me, that's why Blake Sable is a lock. And I would say he would have been a lock even if Haniger and Slater were available to start the season.
Yeah.
I just think he's that valuable to the team because he adds a whole nother dimension. I mean, it'd be different if he was a right-handed hitter and he was slow, okay? And all he could do is catch.
Yeah.
I mean, basically then you're looking at another Austin Wynns, and you don't carry a third catcher to have. But Blake Sable is a left-handed hitter that can hit for average, can hit for power, and he can fly on the bases.
And he's got those clear goggles, so he could put up some Kelby Tomlinson kind of vibes,
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen any of the games that have been televised back to the Bay Area, but he's laid down a bunt, stole second base, same game, was on base on a base hit, went to third base on a line drive to center field, just right off the bat. He saw it was going to drop and he didn't hesitate. Not many catchers do that. There's only a handful. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So that's where I see this team going.
This year.
What's that?
He could be like a good 6-man kind of X factor.
Yeah, exactly. I think the guy that really needs to get moving, Romo says on here, I hit the wrong one. There it is. Yaz is a waste of a roster spot, according to Romo. It's going to be interesting. I think Yaz has got to come out and produce in April. If he gets off to a rough start and he's, what is he hitting? And I'm not a big spring guy, but
I think it's .043 or something.
Is that what it is?
Something like that. It's
Yeah. That is.
I saw him out there today working on it. He was taking batting practice on the field in the morning, and you can tell he's out there trying to figure things out. So hope it happens. He's one of my favorite. He's probably my favorite guy. I've always loved Yaz, and he's actually been a friend of the show. I've had him on a couple times, and I have an episode with him that comes out next week. So I need him to put it together.
Yeah. Mario says he's a solid 6 outfielder. I mean, he's going to be your opening day center fielder. You're going to be going against Crawford's brother-in-law. Garrett Cole. So,
well, here's my theory on Yaz. I thought he was going to maybe have a better year, and I'm hoping it's just spring training, and things start clicking because, as you know, he's a great defensive guy. He's got a good arm, accurate arm. And I was hoping with maybe the bigger bases, he's got decent speed. Maybe he can get in there and steal every now and then. And with the lack of the shift, I thought guys like him and maybe even Brandon Belt could benefit because they've been ripped off so many times.
Right.
And maybe he can go gap to gap more, stuff like that. So
I'm hoping he puts it together too. He's a really nice guy. I talked to him. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah. I talked to him Saturday just asking him about his, how his little girl's doing. And, I think she's 14 months, something like that, 14, 15 months. Just, really enjoying that time of that period of life. And so, you root for these guys. They're it's a good group of guys,
I think
and
that's why it's fun to do these podcasts because, like we've said, it brings out the human element. It makes you kind of want to root for certain guys.
yeah, definitely. I mean, you want to see these guys do well. I mean, they don't want to struggle. Um, you know, I mean, baseball's a really, really funky thing of all the sports because when you get in a slump, it gets in your head. I can
Yeah.
remember going up there to bat at times when I was in a slump, and it's like you're walking up there and you're going like, just don't strike out, just don't strike out.
Yeah.
It's
And then
instead
you
of like,
strike out.
yeah, instead of just like, no, I'm gonna, I'm gonna hit this thing. I'm ready to go. When I asked Lamont Wade, he said, he's like, when you're hot, I said, does the ball look bigger to you? And anyway, he says, yeah. He says, when you're hot, it kind of just everything does seem a little bigger. You're just in this zone. He says, and when you're not, he says, you kind of hoping maybe your spot gets skipped or two in the lineup. You just don't want to go up there. And it
Yeah.
is. It's a mental game. It really is. Another mental game. And I played all three sports. I was a field goal kicker in college. And you talk about a mental thing. You miss a couple, and then it's like, dang.
Yeah.
You remember the kicker this year for the Cowboys
Yeah.
he
I felt
missed
bad.
did he miss 3 extra points or 4 in one
I
game?
know it's multiple in a game. I was like,
Yeah, it was wild. Well, I know what that feeling's like because I never missed extra points. I mean, I think I missed only a couple in my career out of probably 80 kicks.
and where were you at? Cal or?
No, I didn't play at my brother did. I just played community college 1 year, and then I gave up football, and I just said, I'm just going to go focus in on college itself. So, but kicking is mental because I got into it was my last year kicking. I got into a rut kicking field goals, just all of a sudden I just couldn't make a dang field goal. And it's like, what's going on? It's just like,
Yeah.
so when
Sounds
you're,
like hitting a golf ball. I can't get it in the air.
yeah, it's a crazy, crazy thing to happen when it goes that way. So, um, yeah, I just, trying to get this, Alex Wood interview into the chat, but I don't
Uh,
know how to do it. I'm not like I say, when it comes to technical stuff, um, I am really, really bad. But let me see, maybe I can do this. Let me try emailing it to myself. And
yeah. Well, this is
so
great. I'm looking
tell
at
us
this.
about your channel again, because I want to get everybody that's listening now and that's going to listen later to subscribe to you, follow you on Instagram, YouTube, and if you have a TikTok account, tell
Only
everybody about it again.
No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, it's the Jim on Base show. It's basically at Jim on Base on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. I'm in the process of getting all my episodes uploaded to YouTube too. But I got some good videos, a lot of in-person stuff from the celebrity golf tournament. The Buster Posey stuff's on there, and then I'll put all these spring training interviews we're doing on the YouTube as well. But yeah, Jim on Base. Follow me on all those major platforms, and I'm always putting something up to promote the episode. So
That's great. That's great. Well, I love having you on the show tonight. I told you we go 45 minutes to an hour. If you got to step out, I'm going to keep going. You're welcome to stay on if you want, or if you got to, if you
well, I was
got to
going to tell
run.
you some upcoming episodes I got.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
So like we said earlier, Greg Maddox, that one's going to come out in a couple weeks. I have an interview, a short interview with CC Sabathia, Yvonne Rodriguez, and Vince Carter. I got John Lester from the Red Sox and the
Okay.
A's. Um, who else is coming up out there? Tom Dreesen, the comedian. I got Kenny Aronoff. He's a drummer,
Uh-huh.
probably one of the most famous drummers out there right now. He's played with John Fogerty. He's played with Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
He
put
was
me in, coach, huh?
Yeah, he was the drummer for the Kennedy Center Awards.
Uh-huh.
In that band, he's bald. He wears sunglasses. He's got a very distinct look. He's played with the Smashing
Okay.
Pumpkins, so that one's going to come out later. Micah Strempsey comes out next week, and those are the ones that I can think of right now.
So those will be coming up on your YouTube channel then?
Yeah, and on look up Jim on Bass on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Google, all those major audio podcasts too. You can subscribe to the show.
That's great. That's great. Who designed your logo? Did you do that or?
I have a friend who he had some kind of editing software and he made it for me. And yeah, we loved the. So you were describing it earlier. It's Jim on Bass. There's a baseball diamond behind it, and then the I for Jim.
Yeah, I got
Is
your business
like,
card here. Actually,
oh, there it is. Yeah.
there's the logo right there. See that? That is really cool. The mic for the
Yeah.
the microphone is the actual dot for your eye, and so Jim on Bass. His name's not Jim, but he goes by Jim on Bass. So it's a lot easier to remember Jim on Bass, I think, than Ryan on Bass or.
Yeah. It sounds better too, Jim. It's quicker, you know.
Yeah. And plus it makes a great, like I say, look at that. It makes a great logo. 3 letters. It's all you need. Just Jim on Bass.
And it's not copyrighted, so if you want to steal it, you can.
Don't tell anybody that. Of course, there's only about 15 in here right now. So, so what did your when you put the name together? You were telling me a little story about it. I don't know if you want to share that or not. Feel free to if you like. How it all came about.
Yeah, I was out to lunch with a friend, and I was like, I had done some interviews, and I didn't know what I was doing with the show yet. I just had them recorded, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know what I should call it. And Romo says, Jim, have you tried getting Bochy? I actually had Bruce Bochy for almost. It was about an hour. I've had Bruce Bochy, Ron Wotus, Tim Flannery, Dave Righetti. Those are some good Giants names. Matt Williams. But my friend was like, yeah, you need to think of something baseball related, like. And he was thinking about what can I say with home run or field or whatever. And then he said something about Jim on Bass. And I said, what was that? He said, Jim on Bass. I said, that's the one. There's just something about it. When I heard it, I was like, that's the we're taking that and running with it.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, so you've had Bochy, and yeah, I've got. I was going to contact Flan, man. I'd like to have him on because he's got a fascinating.
Yeah, we talked
story.
music and baseball, obviously, and he was great. He was one of the best ones too, and I contacted him through Twitter, so that might be a route to get him.
Yeah, I've actually got his number because I picked it up from actually listening to some of the guys talk about his number in the Giants. So I say, give him a call. I'll just text him and say, hey, actually, I might even use you since he'll probably remember.
Yeah.
How long ago did you do that?
Probably. I think it was over the summer.
Oh, okay.
It was recent. And then one of the funny lines that Bruce Bochy told me, I said something at the end. I said, what do you have planned for the rest of the day? And he said, well, his grandson was coming over. And I guess Bruce Bochy has a pond on his property. So he said, yeah, he's going to come over. We're going to fish in the pond. And he said, it's not really fishing, Jim. It's more like catching. So that was a funny line.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah. And then, of course, did you talk about his staph infection that he had as well? Did you get into that?
No, I didn't get into that. But at the time, I asked him because, we didn't know if he was truly retired or not. And I said something like, so are you going to take another manager's job if you get it? And he made it sound like no, but he would entertain the call at least and hear him out. So I wasn't too surprised when they announced. But I wish he went out the perfect ending. So I wish he would have just stayed retired.
Yeah.
Especially the send gave him was so perfect, you know.
Yeah. Well, I meant Flan when he was sick, but I don't know if you knew about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew about him being.
Oh, he did talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that was pretty
mentioned how he
scary. It
almost,
sounded like.
yeah, he almost died, and he had this weird vision dream
Yeah.
type thing in the hospital, and he did
Really?
reference, yeah.
Oh
So it was a good,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I got to get him on the show. I definitely got to get him on. So Romo, do you have a musical background or just a music fan?
Yeah, I grew up. I played drums. That's why. So I've had some drummers on, like Kenny Aronoff, like I had said, Cindy Blackman, Santana. She's married to Carlos Santana. She was Lenny Kravitz's drummer for a long time. But I grew up playing drums. The first instrument I tried out was piano, and then my teacher kept falling asleep on
Oh,
the like on the keys. So I had to keep waking her up, and that was when I was a little kid. So I realized later on that she was an alcoholic. So then now I play the drums because it's loud, keeps you awake.
oh wow, wow. That's
But big
interesting. So,
music fan, love going to concerts.
uh-huh. Okay. Well, that's cool. I think I may figure out if I can figure out how to switch my email. I think I can get
Uh,
yeah, I may be able to figure out how to play this Alex Wood by posting it in the comments and
oh,
then
that's cool.
playing it there. Let me just double check here what my Norcal Sports Network. Okay,
I
let's
like
try.
Alex Wood too. He's a quick worker, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So let me see if I can email this to myself. NorCal. I'm when it comes to tech, I am so bad at this stuff.
Well, I'll talk to Romo while you're doing that.
Yeah, go ahead and talk to Roma while I'm doing this.
Some other Giants I've had on are Matt Cain, Ryan Vogelsong, JT Snow, Rob Nen, John Miller, the announcer that you know, I've had him on. Tim Roy, the broadcaster from the Warriors. Rick Barry, that was
Oh
a big one.
yeah.
Yeah. Had all the members of Run TMC. So you mentioned Chris Malone. I've had Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond as well. Working on getting Antoine Jameson hopefully this summer. He's my favorite Warrior. Uh, I even had a fun one with McCovey Cove Dave. So it was fun to have him on talking about his strategy to get splash hits and stuff like that. So that was fun. Renelle from, as you know, the PA announcer, had her on. She was great. She's got a lot of connections and
Oh,
great stories.
Renell. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she's great. Yeah, yeah. So that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think we could uh, really develop a network here of giants.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just looking at my email and I just heard from um, the guy from Hum Baby. His name's Eric, and he's got a really nice channel, and
Okay.
he's got a lot of subs, and he does everything himself too, and he has a lot of fun on his show, and he does, he's very religious about doing a post game show, all 162,
Oh wow.
and he's on there, and I think he's probably one of the first guys to do it, and you know. Uh, I've watched his stuff, and he's got a lot of really not just giant stuff, but he does a lot of uh, like history on baseball. Some real good stuff. So uh, that that is good. Now I've got this in my email. Maybe somebody can tell me how to get this into. Let me see. Maybe if I forward this. I don't know how to do it. I just don't know how to do it.
Well, you'll
Oh
get it
man.
on eventually. So
Yeah, yeah. I thought it would be good to play today since it was just fresh from today and he just pitched, and just to hear Alex's Woods comments on that. Uh, so maybe we'll be able to figure that. We'll get it on it. If not tonight, we'll get it on another time. But yeah, tomorrow morning we'll be back at Scottsdale early in the morning, and then they have a game against who are they playing tomorrow?
I think it's the Guardians, maybe.
Is it let me look here. Oh, it's Bochy. It's Texas.
Oh, Rangers. Okay.
Yeah. Shoot.
Wow.
Maybe we can get over there and
Yeah.
make a. I'd love to tag team Boach. That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Boach, but I mean, the fact that you've been able to just get these guys, are you just going? You're not even going through their agents or anything. You're just going straight to them, or
Yeah. Like I'll use like Instagram sometimes, Twitter,
huh?
social media outlets. Uh, Sometimes I'll have a number from somebody somewhere type thing, but for the most part, it's all just kind of luck of the draws. Just all me kind of figuring things out. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's been fun how it's been successful. I didn't think I'd get this far.
yeah. I've watched some Hum Baby. Eric, he actually has the guitar. He'll do it on his show.
Oh, there
He'll,
we go.
he'll play the guitar. So Romo says you on the drums, Hum Baby on the guitar, and me on vocals. Yeah, that's what we need. Me on vocals. That will just like get us demonetized quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want me on vocals. I promise
Well,
you.
maybe there's someone on the Giants that can fill in on bass for us.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some. Maybe you can get Kapler. He's into some
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
as you know, it sounds like I'm talking to Mark Hallberg tomorrow, so excited for that, the third base coach, and then Gabe Kapler said we could have a little chat tomorrow about music. So hoping that
yeah,
all comes to fruition.
yeah. That would be great. Yeah, I mean, if you can get Cap, I mean, hey, look at all the other guys you've got. You've done like tremendous. I mean, you're doing better than guys that have been in this business for 25 years. Uh, I mean, you're not going after, you know, you're not going after the uh, what's the guys we had fun with last year on the Giants that came up and were here for a week and gone.
Oh yeah, like
The
the September call-ups.
Oh no, just the guys that came up. I've kind of forgot about them. All these Michael Papirskis and the
Oh wow,
uh,
that's a
Stewie
name.
Fairchilds and guys that were on the roster for maybe a week or two, picking up guys from Seattle, then they're
Yeah,
gone. You're not going after those guys. You're getting the top guys. So that's awesome.
fingers crossed. I just want it to keep going.
Yeah, Romo says if you can, let me see, humanize Kapler, you need some kind of award. Yeah, I think
But
he
we'll see.
could do it.
That's the
I
plan.
think he could do it. Yeah, I had some questions for Gabe too that you know I thought would work, but just the timing of it. So we'll see. Um, but are you a basketball? Do you do any basketball or football or all? Or you just mostly baseball?
Well, just the guest had on. So for me, all my episodes are guest based. It's just interviews.
Uh huh.
So yeah, so like Run TMC, Chris Mullen, Rick Barry,
Right.
Jay Rice, Steve Young, Warren Moon, Jerome Bettis, Joe Theismann. Uh, so I've been lucky enough to have some good names in all the sports. I even had some Olympic athletes like Brandy Chastain, the soccer player.
Oh yeah.
And then do you remember Summer Sanders, the gold medal swimmer? And then now she does a
Yeah.
lot of like TV hosting. Um, yeah.
That's great. I mean, are you I know you're a Giants fan, but and then you've interviewed Warriors and Niners. Are you a Warriors and Niner fan as well?
Yeah, Giants, Warriors, Niners.
Okay, so we got the same three. So yeah, basically, yeah, we got one basketball team, but a couple of football teams for the most part growing
Yeah.
up, and two baseball teams.
And even
Both.
though I'm a Niner fan, the Raiders, I've had a lot of Raiders on, like Jim Plunkett, Fred Biletnikoff, Tim Brown, Jerry Rice. I think that's everyone's. So I might be forgetting somebody, but they've all been really approachable and nice. You always think the
Mhm.
Raiders, tough guy, intimidating type franchise. They've been some of the coolest people to talk to, I've noticed.
Did you talk to Plunkett about his parents being blind and stuff like
Yeah,
that? How was
yeah.
that?
Oh, it was pretty cool. He mentioned obviously had the tough upbringing and he was always working even as a young kid just to help out the family. But he mentioned how you couldn't leave things. I said, what would people not think about having parents with, some obstacles like that? And he just said, you don't leave things out, they could trip over it. But even when he maybe brought friends over and didn't think his mom knew, she somehow still sensed them and would
Really?
wave. And he said some his friends wouldn't even realize she was blind sometimes. But they met at like the school of the blind or something like that, and his parents. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a pretty interesting talk, and he was really down to earth, and just he was a really good interview. And I've heard on some documentaries that he used to be like a really shy guy, and he's definitely a lot more open, and he was a great interview.
Yeah. Um, uh, so I'm thinking about that, the obstacles, like you said, how hard would that be? Like to, uh, from his parents' standpoint, they have, children. I don't know if did he have siblings, Jim?
Yeah, he had a couple sisters, and he said how it's just in the family genes where everyone wears glasses and stuff like that. So
But, just the um, idea of, not being able to see your children, you
mm,
know, and then for Jim and his siblings, knowing his parents can't see them, but
yeah,
like say all the stuff that had to go into caring for them. And I mean, I'm happy for him that, he won 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders and that, had a heck of a career at Stanford. And then,
yeah,
but, coming out of going into,
I yeah,
yeah. So I think my son's going to figure a way to pop into the green room, we call it. He won't be on the show in the background, and he'll be able to somehow put Alex Wood's uh, interview in, so that we can actually play that for you guys today. Because both Ryan and I were there. I didn't ask any questions. You didn't ask any questions today. It was kind of just
taking it in for me.
yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll ask questions. I got that one question in for Kapler and on his at the end of the dugout.
Yeah,
I asked him about Piscotty and his 2 out, bases loaded, 2-strike base hit to right field off Noah Syndergaard. If that improved his chances of making the club, because he's had a good spring, and seeing stuff like that, the fact that they don't have any right-handed outfielders, and he kind of alluded to that. I think that
hmm
he's had a good spring, and it's not just because of what he did today, but I think he set out for a week and a half. He got injured a little bit, but he would be a great interview tomorrow if he's in the locker room. If you haven't talked to Piscotty, he's really a class guy. I
Oh,
like
okay.
I like Stephen Piscotty. In fact, he's a Danville guy too.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's from
Yeah,
there or what?
no, he's from Pleasanton, but he lives
Oh,
in Danville now.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna seek him out then.
Yeah, definitely seek him out. And I think he makes the. I would be I would be surprised if he did not make the club, just
Mm,
because like I say, Slater's not available, and you can't. And if Haniger starts the season on the out, how many left-handed guys can you have in 11?
yeah.
You can't go all right-handed, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, so yeah, I wanted to. So let me check under video clips. My son is telling me, where do we go under video clips? Let's see, video clips. Maybe it's under brand. Let me see. I'm looking here. Hang with me. Yeah, there it is. Okay, my son's really good at this stuff. So let's play Alex Wood, and then we'll wrap up after that, and then you and I will, when we close out the live stream, just hang on and we'll talk in the green room about tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
And so, everybody, here is Alex Wood to meeting with the press after his performance today against the Dodgers.
Time out again, that AAA game, the results weren't all that great. What were your thoughts on kind of having a day like that here against a team like that?
Yeah, it was a good day for sure. I've had a weird spring training with the backfield games and the rain. I was about to get rained again today. I thought I was about to be inside at the indoor facility throwing because I don't have any extra days after this. But no, I felt good. I threw a really much longer bullpen in between than I typically do, just feeling some things out, and thought we had a new little cue that I thought showed up nicely at the end of my pen 2 days ago, and so felt really good. Thought all my pitches were sharp, commanded the ball well today, and it was good to get out there for 5 ups for sure.
What's your new little cue?
Early in camp, I was feeling really good, and then we do like all the testing and stuff we do, and there's like this mobility one. And I was like, you have to like sit and really like reach far back in your leg, and I just my glute started acting up a little bit, and so Baney just noticed that like I was kind of pulling everything and missing glove side a lot, and I wasn't like pushing through my toe as much as I was earlier in camp. I think it was partially because of the little glute issue that had been nagging me for the first two weeks, and so then into my bullpen, we started focused on pushing through my toe a little bit more, and saw some of the ride come back in my heater, and so just kind of bought into it today and felt really good. Thought I was clipping my slider, and I thought I had good life in my heater, and it was just a good day. So
Got your butt into it.
that's right.
You had that shoulder impingement at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Have you totally worked through that? Or that?
Yeah, I feel great. Yeah, I feel really good. It's my shoulder impingement last year. It's mostly came from a plyo drill that I have always really liked, but it's not exactly the way I would do it. There's a couple different ways to do it, but the way I would do it is not super conducive to the way your shoulder moves. So it was a scap drill where you'd go into scap retraction, but it was a little bit forced, so it would shove my humeral head and my shoulder forward. And it was a drill I was doing every day, and I know but it's one of my favorite drills, so it was hard to stop doing it. And I actually, the first half of the season, was not doing it because I knew it was a little bit bothersome. But mechanically, it gets me to a place that I know it gets me to a place where I want to be, and so I kind of went back to doing it, and then it started acting back up. But long story short, I don't do that drill anymore, and never will. But yeah, sorry to be long-winded, but yeah, I feel good. My shoulder is great. I've had a really good, healthy spring training, and just ready to get going.
Did you find another, like a replacement one that gets your?
I'm doing a few. Yeah, I'm doing a few new drills this year for sure, and so feel good.
Yeah, one more spring start. Are you doing any of those favor series things?
Yeah, I think I'll throw the first Oakland game. I think I don't really know for sure yet. I think it's going to depend on how Cobb's feeling, but I think the plan is probably for me to throw that first Oakland game.
If you don't have any more days off, it would definitely be that.
Yeah, so the schedule gets wacky with all the off days to start the season and all this stuff. So yeah, I think that is the plan for me to throw the first game in Oakland, I believe, the day game. But we'll see what they say the next couple of days. I know Cobb's feeling better today, so we'll see what happens.
Do you have any idea what regular season game you might be pinpointed for?
I don't think besides the first two, I don't think anyone really knows what's going on until, especially with Cobb up in the air with his leg. It's just been weird deal with his leg. So we'll just, I think the next couple, by this weekend, we'll have I think probably a better idea what's going on.
Did Jelly come in after you today? And,
Yeah.
kind of talk maybe about using Junis after you. Do you like that idea? Maybe using two guys to kind of piggyback and it's like eat up a whole 9-inning start.
Yeah, I think it's like anything. I think Junior's been his stuff's been really great in camp. I think Jelly's, his fastball's ticked up and his stuff's been really good. It's like anything, right? Like if guys are throwing good, then it works. If guys are not throwing good, then it doesn't work. So it's just like, yeah, I love it. I think Junis showed that he last year, starting or the 2-3 inning role, bridging to the back end of the bullpen. He's really good at doing both of those things. I see Junis as a big league starter, but we just have a lot of starters, and so he showed he could excel at that role last year, and I'm sure he will get right back on the horse and do the same thing and build off that year he had last year. So yeah, for sure. We got a lot of good arms, and it should be a lot of fun on the pitching side of things. Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Alex Wood from today. You got to hear how he's doing. He was battling a little bit of injury to the glute area from an exercise, and he's feeling a lot better, and he pitched well today. Romo says, is Cobb hurt? Well, Cobb took a line drive about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago off of his left knee. And I think he pitched the other day fine. And I think he's already been set as the number 2 starter. So he'll pitch game 2 in New York. And I believe he's going to be fine. He said it's a little bit sore when he runs. It doesn't affect his pitching, but when he's got to cover first base, it's just, it's a contusion. And so it's like a big bruise. It's just gives him a little bit of trouble when he's running. So he should be okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? What have we got here? We're talking about Nate Dogg, Cy. That was fun last night. Yeah. If you guys saw the Larry Krueger show, Cy and I had a little bit of, I don't know what you call it. Cy was just getting on me for talking about Warriors, in my opinion. And he kind of had a little fun with it, but no big deal. No big deal. It was just all in, entertainment. It was good entertainment, and Cy does a good job on his stuff, talking about the Warriors and locked on with the Warriors. So, yeah, just a little difference of opinion at all. So, anyway, and right now we're gonna have just in a moment we'll play a 2-minute interview, and then we'll call it a night. We'll hear from Gabe Kapler in the dugout after today's game.
And he was rocking the cool shades too.
Yeah, he's always wearing the shades. Yeah. It's just converting right now. We have to convert it into a format that'll be able to play here on the live stream. So behind the scenes, we're getting that done.
Well, I think I'll sign off now. I just gotta kind of hit the hay. Got a few more things.
Well, thanks for joining us. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. I know you're going to be interviewing Mark Halberg.
Yeah,
like 8:00 roughly, and then the locker room should open up about 8:30, and we'll hook up tomorrow. Hopefully you go get Piscotti and Sable. If you can get those are really good interviews.
And Romo, I got to get Romo too.
Yeah, he would be good. Did you say you got Lamont Wade today?
No, he said he would do it, so I just got to make sure I make it happen.
Okay, another good one would be Casey Schmidt, but he's usually down in the minor league locker room. But they may have brought him up because there's nobody down there hardly. So they may have brought him up to the bigger club just so he's not down there by himself. But yeah, so thanks for joining us, and everybody check out Jim on Base, right? Jim on Base. It's the Jim on Base show on Twitter. He's Jim on the Base. Follow him if you're on Twitter. Look him there. YouTube, Jim on Base. Instagram, TikTok. I saw YouTube today, checking him out, and I only got a chance to listen to a couple because I was busy, but I'm going to definitely check that out and listen to more of those interviews because those are some top-notch guys. So check out Jim on the Base. Subscribe to his. If you're watching this show for the first time, I think everybody's that's watching now has probably been on here before, but hit the like and subscribe button for us. And thanks again to Ryan. And we'll be having you on in the future, and we'll be doing some collabs and stuff with some of the other giant content creators. We'll have some fun this year.
No, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on. It was nice meeting you. And hey, I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, you have a good night.
All right, see ya.
Thanks. All right.
All right, bye.
Okay, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Gabe Kapler's interview today. And I think I asked the last question. It's a short 2 minutes. It was a quick interview. In fact, we were just getting to the dugout, and I think I missed maybe the first 30 seconds. So here's Giants manager Gabe Kapler.
You did a really nice job overall.
Those 4 pitching metrics you guys have.
Sorry?
Those 4 pitching metrics you guys got displayed in the clubhouse. It's
Process, yep.
strike throwing. He had kind of been toward the bottom of things. Was it important to see him go up his own in the game today?
We always pay close attention to those process metrics, and ironically, we were talking about Jelly during the game today. I think he was at the top of the process metrics, and he's still doing a lot of the same. With Alex, we know this guy. We're trying to get him ready for the season. So there might be some ebbs and flows within those process metrics for Alex, but we know who he is. We've seen enough of him.
Was there's good balance with a couple of hits, a couple of walks, makes that nice good first player. Thoughts on his game?
Yeah, I mean, just like his whole camp has been very focused, healthy, athletic, and making good decisions on the baseball field, both at the plate and on the dirt, on the bases too. He's just been a good all-around player for us. Feel like he's ready for the season.
I didn't quite hear what Susan said, but is Piscotti, you saw him today come up with a big hit, 2 bases loaded, 2 strikes on a right hand against Syndergaard. Looks like, with the right-handed injuries to the right-handed batters, does that improve his shot at making the 26-man roster, you think?
Piscotty's had a nice camp for us. I don't think it's about today. I mean, he had nice at-bats today, but it's much more about his camp, and in its entirety has been professional, and sort of what we expected. A veteran player making a lot of veteran plays throughout camp. Feel good about where Steven is. Sweet. Thanks.
All right. There it is. There you have it. Gabe Kapler on the wrap-up after today's game. I think reading between the lines there, what I'm hearing him say, that he likes where Piscotty's at. If he doesn't make the 26-man roster to open the season against the Yankees, you'll definitely see him this year. I have no doubt about that. When I talked to Steven earlier in camp, goal was to make the roster opening day, but if not, he would go down to Sacramento, work there, and work on his way to get back up to help the club this year. So I think Piscotty is a true veteran guy. He's had a couple of down years because he's been hurt, and he's healthy now. I mean, he got the big hit, and then later his next at bat, he hit one almost to the warning track in straightaway center field. Guy's got some pop, made a nice defensive play out in right field today. He's got range as an outfielder. I like Piscotty. I think he fits this club well. He does have some pop. If he can get that back where he was in peak form with the A's, he'd be a nice piece. So, but I'll be out at spring training camp tomorrow. Hopefully get some interviews in the morning. Look for them on the channel. I'll tweet stuff out during the game, and I will be looking to, I may even come on again tomorrow. Now that I've got this some of this stuff down, we can do more live streams. And also, I've had Romo come in on the show before. I'd like to invite anybody that wants to come in and participate as part of the show. I mean, I'm looking here through here we got Mario. He's out there. Got senior softball games. Jenny Vega, fish and chips. Anybody who wants to just hit me up either on Twitter or in the chat that you'd love to come on, and we'll have you come on and we'll send you a link and come on in and we'll talk Giants baseball or whatever's happening in sports. But we're primarily going to be focusing in on the Giants for the next 6 months. We'll also be doing the Warriors as they make another run, hopefully, at an NBA title. So, but thanks for joining us. I really appreciate everybody, your comments. And if you haven't, please hit the like and subscribe button. Tell your friends about this channel. It's honest content. It's we won't wiffle waffle when it comes to our opinions. I have an opinion on people, and it can change, but I'm not going to say one thing that they're awful one day and the next day they're great. That's just not my style. My style is just, I'm going to lay it out there the way I see it, and I'm not going to be, wiffle waffling, like I said, when it comes to performance. I'll never rip a person personally because these guys are human beings. They got a job. They got families. They're doing their very best to make it. It's not easy, pro sports, to perform at the highest level when you got someone on the other side that's trying to perform at the highest level to beat you, pitcher versus batter or defender versus offensive player in basketball, whatever. People are getting paid to shut you down while you're getting paid to beat them. So it's not easy, but I also won't sugarcoat if I don't think their performance merits being up with the club, but I'm not going to shred them personally because I happen to, I'm a reporter, a journalist, but I'm a fan, and I happen to pull for these guys, and I like them personally. At least everybody I've met so far, nobody, has given me any reason to dislike someone as a person. So with that being said, thanks for joining us. And Jenny says, thank you for the invitation, Dan. You're welcome, Jenny. Anytime you guys want to come on, let me know and we'll work it out. And right now we're a young channel, so we're just building. So it's early and we don't have the subscribers that, an established channel has. And so we'll make it a family and we'll grow it. But thank you again for joining. Look for more content tomorrow. And until then, thanks again, everybody. And have a wonderful night.